Hello, Latinos in clinical research. Welcome to another monthly Zoom meetup. We do these every month. We do them for free. We do them to highlight other people just like you who are doing things in the industry. We do them to encourage others to either get started in the industry or advance their careers in the industry or do something different in the industry. Today, we've got special guest Marcel Ruiz. He's Dr. Ruiz. He's an international medical graduate from Bolivia, but he grew up in California. He grew up a 49er fan, just like me. And he's here to share his story of how he got started, the struggle it took, what the route he chose. But before all that, because right now Marcel Ruiz is a clinical project coordinator for a large CRO, which is basically a precursor to a project manager. And we're going to get into where Marcel wants to go in the future. But let's start with like high school. You're graduating high school. What did you have planned for your career, college? Let's start from like the very beginnings.
Okay, yeah, definitely. Well, hi everyone. It's great to be on today. I truly appreciate the time that you guys are taking to have me on today. So let's start back in high school. I really, I didn't know I wanted to study medicine. I just kind of had I knew I wanted to be in healthcare. Um, so high school, actually, just like you're mentioning, I grew up in California. So I went to high school in a city called San Jose, California. After graduating, I actually worked for a few years. Just a bunch of sales jobs. Not nothing. I didn't have any plans on going to college after high school, but then I did have an opportunity that presented to me. So my dad mentioned that I can go to Bolivia um, and study whatever I wanted to study down there, and so I chose to study medicine. Um, so went down to Bolivia, graduated in 2016. I stayed and I worked for a couple years as a emergency doctor or emergency room physician attending at one of the hospitals in San Borja, which is in the state of El Beni in Bolivia. And from there, I decided to come back to the U.S., but not after starting a family, getting married, and starting a family down there. And then I decided to come back to the U.S. So yeah, and now I'm here, um, and I've been pretty much ever since that I came back. I've been the original plan was to go into residency. Since I am an international medical graduate,
Mhm.
I did have plans on pursuing residency and continue my training down here. Um, but then again, I kind of had to take a tough, decision in my life. Having a family, um, my daughter being born, I um, I kind of had to make a choice, right? And it wasn't that hard for me. I chose. I can always put my training um, out in the future. I can always put that on hold. But missing out on the first years of my daughter's life is something that you're not gonna get back. So it wasn't that hard of a decision for me, and so I immediately started working as soon as I got back when we came back here to the U.S. Um, yeah, I came back to the U.S. Started working. I got a job as a medical interpreter. Actually, that's how my career started here in the U.S. In healthcare. Um, I felt that it was something that I was qualified to do. I kind of fell into the role
Who
to
were you
be
working?
honest.
Was it your own business or you worked
I
for a
was
practice?
I was working independently. I was an independent contractor. I did work for a company based out of I believe it was in I forget the city. It's in Southern California. They're based in LA, I believe.
Okay.
And but I did independent contract work. I would get called in for different different type of jobs depending on what facility or what clinic needed my help, or needed an interpreter that day. I get the job offers and I choose to accept them, whether or not they if I wanted to take on the job. So I did that for about a year and a half, and then COVID hit, and things the calls stopped coming in as regularly as they were originally coming in. So I was looking at different alternatives for work. So I I was able to get a job, an opportunity as an over the phone interpreter. So that gave me the ability to be remote. I started working from home, but now I no longer am tied to just one particular area. I was able to move around, and I decided to come down to where I'm at now currently, which is Texas. I'm in Dallas, Texas. So I had the
Ah,
opportunity to
you
come
moved.
down here.
Okay.
Yeah, I moved from California. I'm living right now in Dallas and
Wait,
working
you're
down
one of
here
the
as
people
well.
that left California last year?
Woo!
Yes, I did.
So Ashley came through. So
Hey guys.
you moved to Texas, and
Yes,
then I imagine clinical research, like how did you discover this? Because you were IMG, so you were
yes,
studying medicine. They don't necessarily teach research.
they do
And then you
not.
came
Well,
back medical translator. So how did you even come across clinical research?
that's a great question. The way I came across research is when I came down to Dallas, Texas. I actually got hired at one of the, I'm going to say the largest academic medical center in the Dallas Fort Worth area as an interpreter. So I got the
Hmm.
job as an interpreter, but it was at a really large research hospital, right? And they're really big on research at
Was
this
that Baylor?
UT Southwestern.
Oh, okay.
UTSW. I had
So,
just left UT Southwestern too when we had been introduced. So it's pretty interesting.
yes,
Wow.
yeah. So I was working at UT, and I mean they're really big on research down there. At any given moment, there's hundreds, if not thousands, of clinical trials I think going on. And I would, I was getting called into all the different areas within the medical center. I'd get called into like ED, the ICU, surgery centers, the cancer centers, and then we would get called in a lot for the clinical trials that were going on, right? And a lot of the times we get called in to consent the patients during the consenting
No, I can't.
process.
Show it over there like Ruben, so I didn't want to change it.
Wait,
Yeah,
wait,
so
hold on. Let me mute. Oh, there we go.
So Marcel, actually, let me ask you a question on that. So did you have to know these studies and the consents because you didn't know which one you were going to called into, or you kind of knew ahead of time that you were going to help with the consent?
We did not know ahead of time. We did
Oh.
not know ahead of time. We would get called in, and then that's kind of how I learned about. You kind of at when I went in the first couple of times, it was a little bit hard. Mainly because medical terminology is so vast. Even me as a doctor, I do have pretty good medical terminology, but a lot of terms that they use in research are quite different. And but you get that with the experience of doing it. And so there is a lot of our calls were for that, to go in and consent, or doctors doing physical examinations, doing assessments, the coordinators, whatever they would need, we would get called in to be in there and be with the patient. So I found that very, very interesting, right? I never really got exposure to industry funded clinical trials, right, for like a new oncology, a new pharmaceutical that was being developed. So this was all very new to me and really, really interesting. One of the things that really kind of sparked my interest was this is seen as as an alternative treatment option for a lot of these patients, right? A lot of these patients, especially in oncology, it's a great option to be part of a clinical trial. and to have this treatment not only benefit some of these patients, but also have no cost at all. So that's something that really sparked my interest in research, and I think that was around that time. That's when I started to doing my own research on how can I come be part of research. And I ran into I did with what any typical person would do. I'd start looking on YouTube and Google, and lo and behold, I ran into Dan's videos, and and that's when I started. I started going down the rabbit hole.
That's good. Yeah. Who in their right mind would think that YouTube is a place where people go look for stuff?
It's great. It's a great. I'm surprised that I'm pretty sure that I'm going to be telling one day my grandchildren and my great grandchildren that we had this tool before where you get this education for free. But you know what? You can
Right.
You know
find out
what?
whatever
And,
you
you know, I
need,
have a
and we didn't have to pay for it, right?
They're
'Cause
watching you.
eventually-
They're watching you right now.
And you said this happened around COVID, so this is barely like last year that
Mhm.
all this happened.
Yes,
Like,
yes. It
Probably
was-
2020,
it was
right?
very quickly. This all happened. Let's see. I started working at my current role this year in May, and I'm going to say that I started reaching out to Dan and Ashley, and I believe it was in December or
Yeah,
January.
it was December.
Oh,
At least when we started
yeah.
speaking, yeah.
So Ashley, walk us through. How did you go? Everybody wants to know the magic. How you went to clinical project coordinator. Which, by the way, you don't need an IMG degree for. That's just one of
Yes.
many things you can do in research. And I guess we can talk later about what your goals are long term. But how did you get in? Like, that's a hard, not necessarily easy role to get into.
Yeah. So the way I got in was, nothing out of the ordinary. I had to apply, but first I watched a lot of your content, and from there I saw a video where Ashley was on, and she was going in more detail about her resume review and LinkedIn services that she offered, tailored to people looking to break into clinical research. So I figured, you know what, this is a great opportunity. I'm going to reach out. And and I don't regret it. It really. I worked with Ashley from there. She really kind of whipped me into shape to get what I needed to, focus, to get all my transferable skills in order, and just
Wow.
kind of guide me on the right path, along with your videos. One of the problems that I ran into, even though I have a background in healthcare, I don't have any clinical research experience, right? So that's one of the things that you're going to get asked in most of the roles that you apply for. Even for a lot of entry level roles, they still require that you have some type of clinical research experience. And I remember one of the things that stuck out to me was, okay, well, in one of your videos, what you can do is just reach out, volunteer. And you know what? I really believe in the power of going out and actually just, putting yourself out there and try to see if you can offer something, right? Offer something to the sites, to, investigators, to somebody, because that's a great way. Volunteering is a great way to get some experience and learn as well.
Who did you volunteer with?
I did a couple of, since I was at the hospital, that was a really great place to be, in terms of being able to network. So I did reach out to a lot of the PIs, a lot of the doctors that were conducting clinical trials, and I would reach out to them, ask them, since they knew me, we had a work relationship. I would go in and consent. I would, I'd approach them and ask them if they needed me to come in. I can come in on this day and maybe help you consent some more patients or interpret for you. And I'd love to maybe learn a little bit more about what you guys do. And, after about, the first like 10 doctors that I reached out to were like, no, can't do it. Until finally I got one that accepted, right? And she was very actually happy to have me on to help out. And so, yeah, I did that. And then after that, I had 2 more PIs that, I continued to try to reach out to get just to get more experience. And so I did that for about, I'm going to say about 5 months, 4 to 5 months. I worked on different trials and different therapeutic areas in the hospital. And then from there, I felt comfortable enough to try and to branch out and actually apply to jobs in clinical research.
Awesome.
I am
I mean,
so glad you're mentioning all that. Sorry, Ashley, go ahead.
no. You go money out later.
Yes, I'm glad that you're mentioning all that because I mean, Dan keeps on repeating on videos. We repeated on videos, but we never really had somebody that actually put it in practice and
10 no's.
and coming
10
here.
no's.
Exactly.
It
How
just
do you
it made a lot of sense. It really made a lot of sense what you said. It's how do you get experience if you have no experience? I mean, the best way to do it is go out, offer,
make it?
make it,
Make it.
offer
Yeah.
it.
So
Yeah, like
how did you get over it? Like 10 people, you don't take it personally, I'm guessing, but when 10 people tell you no and you're a
Yeah,
doctor
it's a little
yourself,
disappointing.
yeah, how do you not have the ego to say, well, I'm over this, I'm going to do something else?
You just have to keep. I mean, you have to keep your goals in mind, right? The end. What's the end goal, right? Where do you want to be? And in order to get to that point, you're gonna have a lot of bumps in the road, a lot of no's. But as long as you persist, I think that there's always a light at the end. If you just keep going, right? Be persistent.
So
Yeah.
what's the magical skill that Ashley, how do you said transferable skills. So what exactly, like, give 3 things for LICR people. Like what does that mean? And in your case, like, what were 3 transferable skills that you put on your resume to get the research job?
I don't remember what I put on my resume. It has changed now, so I don't remember.
That's good though. That's good.
Ashley, you got to remember. Somebody got to
No,
remember.
I will. I mean, if you want, Marcel, I can step in. I remember a bit of your background.
Yeah, that'd be great.
So I remember Marcel. He reached out and we actually spoke on the phone almost about, I think, an hour and a half. He gave me the background of him and what he was looking to do. And something that I want to mention here is that I get asked a lot to have phone calls and to talk about what people want or what they need from me, etc. But I really like that Marcel actually was talking about his life and why he came to the US and all of that stuff. So it really gave me a feel to really want to help, right? Because sometimes getting asked all the time, it can be tiresome no matter what kind of things you offer or help people with. And the fact that he had translation background was really great. But in this case, I know Marcel, your one of your concerns is that well, I'm not a physician here in the U.S., but I am a physician, and I don't have research background, but I really know I could do the job. And it was about making sure that you took the skill sets that you have, regardless of what job you have. You don't have to have it in clinical industry. You don't have to have it, specific like hands-on acute care or anything like that. You can be an accountant, you can be an administrator, and whatever. The point being is that almost every job has quality assurance and in some level has some type of project management if you did your best to do your best and actually help out and do certain assignments and things like that on your own. I mean, there's so many ways that you can word the things we do, but I feel like us, especially as if you're not in your want career, you tend to look at work as work and not necessarily something that you improve on and like your passion or your goal or anything like that. So you're not really focusing on what you're doing day to day. It's more of just a mundane cycle. But really what you're doing is you are breaking down processes, you're building up processes, you are assisting people with their concerns and any issues they might have. You are communicating and having teamwork on a daily basis. It's finding these little things that you do and rewording them to match what it is that is needed within the research industry. So everybody has it. It's just knowing how to word it. And I think something that we did for Marcel was, while you were going through the scenario of trying to apply, I think your concern was that you wanted to kind of jump on it pretty quick. But I had told you that it's best for you to continue to get the exposure, continue to volunteer, and build up your certifications while you're doing that. So by the time you get into the industry officially, you would have a really great foundation to not only get the job but negotiate for a pay that is definitely for your worth, right? Because you have a lot to offer. And I mean anybody does, especially if they really want this industry. So yeah, it's kind of a little bit.
Yeah, Marcel still networks. He comes on the live
Yeah.
streams and chats and gives other people advice who are asking questions. That's how you network.
Yeah.
So that's, that was my main concern, because a lot of people, they're in the same situation as you, but they give up maybe after asking one person to intern. And you didn't stop, 10, and then finally you got one, and then you utilized Ashley and her CV skills and LinkedIn skills to kind of transfer your skills over, which I think everybody needs to do. Like whatever job you want, even if you're already in research and you want another job, you're gonna have to change your resume. Can't be the same resume that you've been using if it's a different role.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another,
I'm sorry. Go
sorry.
ahead. Go ahead.
Another thing that I saw Marcel doing a lot was resharing job opportunities,
Yes.
sharing, because in some point I was seeing Marcel on my feeds every day. So I thought
Yep.
that I know him.
Yeah.
So
What were you
yeah.
posting? What were you doing?
I was posting a lot. I was commenting a lot. Just trying to put myself out there. One of the things that really made a huge difference was working with Ashley, and she showed me how to do that, right? How to optimize my link, how to use LinkedIn as a tool. Because before I had a LinkedIn, but I just didn't know its full capabilities until after, going, really optimizing it. And I still have opportunities coming to me through LinkedIn. So
Oh,
it's
that's
a
great.
great resource. It's a really great tool to use and to fully take advantage of.
That's awesome.
That's great.
So glad to hear that it's like, still, providing you a lot of resources. That's a great. I mean, I
Yes.
haven't really been on it as much as I should be, but yeah, that's super awesome.
No,
Um,
it's a great tool. Yes.
I always
oh,
tell people with LinkedIn, I mean, once you're in, and then you're in for 2 years, you're already like a veteran of this industry. So then if you start using LinkedIn, eventually become a thought leader. It's not that difficult. It's like maybe 12 people consistently posting about research, maybe 20 now. It's not that hard. They don't, most people don't use LinkedIn the right way. Most
Right.
people spam message, hey,
Yeah.
I'm looking for a job. I mean, that's not going to work. What Marcel did is what's going to work. And I think I need to actually interview you separately just on that topic alone, because that's like an hour-long topic right there.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yes, definitely.
awesome. So I'm curious, Marcel, what is, I know that we had spoke previously at what your goals were at that point. And as you're saying, your resume is changing, which is great because it should be. What are your goals? Like now that you're in the industry, you have the background you have. Where do you see yourself going with this?
That's a really great question. And I'm still learning a lot within research. I realize that research it's a really big industry, right? And there's a lot of different things you can do within clinical research. In the beginning, I thought that you kind of had one path, which was to go down and to be a CRA, and CRA was kind of like the end point or the end game. But there's so many different paths within clinical research. So right now, I'm not really. I'm still trying to learn as much as I can. I'd really like to master my craft, or really get to know what I'm doing now, and then from there, I think I'll have a better perspective on where I want to be or where I want to head off into. I mean, one of the things I'd truly love to be eventually. I think my goals long term. Definitely would like to get into something more along the lines where I'd have to use my medical background. So maybe medical monitoring.
Yeah.
So that's probably the long-term goal. Short-term goal, I don't know. It could be, eventually could become a CRA as well, right? So all that right now, I'd have to take a little bit more time to really to think about that and see where I want to head.
You get options because
Marcel?
you could be a
Yeah.
sub-I and you could be a sub-I that could lead to medical monitor, or CRA can lead there.
Yeah,
So
or
you
we
can
go
have-
back to the sites. If I really want to have more patient interaction, that's a great a great option as well. Or even
Or you,
becoming a
or you
coordinator.
It can even be a
admissions
rater.
you can
coordinator,
open your own site.
Yeah.
or open up a site.
Yeah.
Right. Correct.
Yeah.
It's endless. It's
There's a
endless.
lot.
Yeah.
There's a lot of options, and once I got into working for a global CRO, I got to see all the different roles, and like you get to see all the moving parts during a clinical trial and what everybody what everybody does. And there's a lot going on. So there's a lot of opportunities in research.
Marcel, could you please tell us a little bit about the clinical project coordinator role?
Yes, of course. Yeah, I'm glad to. So my title is clinical project coordinator. What I do is I'm actually part of the project management team. So I assist the project manager, clinical project manager, and I also work with clinical monitoring services. So I help out. I assist the CRA or the monitor, and I work on I'm delegated a lot of tasks that the project manager typically does. It could be timelines, could be regulatory submissions. I do a lot of I create the trackers. I also attend all the telephone conferences with the sponsor, with the sites. So I do a lot of different things. I also help the monitor, like I said, with if they need anything. Like usually it's collecting regulatory documents from the sites. So sending them out beforehand, making sure that the ISF packet's out as well, so that the monitor has less time on site. So we just kind of make their time more efficient while they're on site. A lot of other things as well. TMF, I do a lot of. I have to create the for every study. I'm pretty much the person in charge of the CTMS and also ETMF filing. So we do a lot of different things, but it's kind of like it's a kind of a cross between an in-house CRA and also I think a CTA. I think that's probably the
You're
best.
gaining a lot of experience.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I
Yes,
also
it's a great role.
I wanted to mention that you in your LinkedIn you have a lot of certifications. So from the ACRP, from CT, and your GCPs. I mean, you name it. You have plenty of those certifications. Did you do
Yes.
all of them before you actually start doing research as part of building your experience and knowledge?
Yes, all
And
these
it-
certifications. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
and if you did it work? I mean, it's actually help you to build your CV.
Yes, I did all these before I even applied to my first job. So I did and all these certifications that I did online, and I think most of them were free. I think the only ones that I had to pay for, which I didn't pay for the course, but I did pay for an ACRP membership. and also I think that's the only one, and all the rest of them are just I saw from a lot of videos, the videos that Dan puts out, right? He has a lot of videos that explain you can take this. I don't think that maybe that's a good video to do. Have one that tells you all the different courses you can take at one time. But I think I saw them across a lot of different videos where okay, and I would write it down. Okay, yeah, that's a free course. I'm going to take that one. And then also speaking to Ashley, she recommended that I look up ACRP, SOCRA, because they offer a lot of different courses, right?
Mhm.
And the the GCP certification that I got, GCP, and the ones that I did from the city program were actually offered to me from my old employer at the hospital. So they provided that training to me for free. Just because I wanted to volunteer in clinical research, that you're required to actually go through all these. You have to go through GCP at minimum. So that was offered to me, and the rest I pretty much looked up and did it on my own. But I think even your GCP certification, you can there are sites where you can still get it for free, right?
Mhm.
And I would say that it did help me land my job, because it was something that came up as a question, interview question for the, I remember in the role that I'm in now, it was definitely one of the questions. They asked me something along the lines of, where did you get your certifications? What, and they just asked me about it, right? And they saw that I had all that, and I think it did make an impact.
Awesome. Something I actually would like to hear, because I know from my own clients, as well as being aware of the CRA and CRC Academy, there are a lot of students or individuals that we come across, right, that are international physicians, right, that are looking to get in the
Yes.
industry, that also are concerned, right, about their abilities to get in the industry, or just in general how to manage with their degree. And so, how did you feel prior to just getting into the industry itself? How did you feel about what exactly you would be doing as a medical doctor from the international medical doctor? And now that you're in the industry, how does that make you feel now, right? Your capabilities of what you can do, and the span of those opportunities.
Yeah, I feel that a lot of international medical graduates don't know that clinical research is an option for them, right? You typically, as an IMG, your goal is to, when you come down to the U.S., your goal, obviously, is to get in a residency. But there's a lot of IMGs that choose not to do that route, and then you're kind of stuck with a medical degree, and you're like, okay, what can I do, right? What are my options? What other career paths can I take? And you're what's typically put out there is, okay, you can and there's other different routes. It really depends on what your goals are and what you want to be, and if you want to get into I know other IMGs that went down the nursing NP fast track, right, and they became nurse practitioners or PAs, but my personal goals were not that, right. It didn't align with what I wanted. I wanted to get into clinical research. Now, to break in, I didn't really know what to expect at first. Watching a lot of Dan's videos and contents kind of really, you get a feel for what to expect, right? So I think it's a great tool that Dan puts out. I mean, a lot of content that he puts out there, and I think it's a great tool for somebody to get kind of like that exposure to clinical research, get an idea, get a feel, see if it's something that you want to do.
Mhm.
And I think it'd also be a good option to I really like what you guys do with Latinos in clinical research, which is you guys are trying to bring out the message, try to bring awareness to research to a lot of, I would say a lot of IMGs probably watch this channel, or at least are looking into research. And if they run into this channel, then, I hope, they can come across my story and maybe, get some inspiration and find see what my path was to get in.
Mhm. Yeah, thank you for saying that. And I, having seen, because I initially was wanting to go the medical route when I was in college, but I was from a rural area from the border, right? So I worked with a lot of international medical doctors that would come over and do radiology or, things like that. And, I when I learned about what research could do, and more specifically, that brought it to my attention when we actually had our first initial call. I realized how much research could actually do a lot for international medical doctors, but vice versa, where y'all could do a lot for research, right? Because one of our biggest concerns is translation, right? I mean, that's part of one of the biggest things we talk about here on LICR. And not only that, but I personally think that as a medical doctor, no matter where you're from, right, or where you get your degree, you're a medical doctor. One, but two, you shouldn't have. I don't feel you should have to continue education for another 3, 4, or 5 years just to be able to manage, right? Like it's not. I personally don't like that. I like to know that research can be a pathway, especially if you go through if you were to go through an academy, or if you were just to go through experience, right, from an opportunity that you get from a job that you had. um, I like knowing that you can still have a job, utilize your skill set, and then get into like Dan said, sub by position, have your own
Yeah.
site, while you're investing in yourself, investing in your family, and not having to reinvest in separate education like school, like years and years and extra time of
Yeah.
school. It's difficult, especially if you have a family. And so I hope that one of the things that LICR can do is really bring more awareness to this option, this pathway, because you can still have the patient exposure. You can still do what you love to do and got educated for. You're just learning a little bit more about how far that can span.
Definitely.
Yeah, but I think that's really great. And I hope you continue to grow in this field and also utilizing your translation skills to, who knows, play a part in, the stuff that we're talking about with ICFs, right? I mean, we need
Yeah.
more and more physicians to be out there and talking about this and making awareness of this in the industry. So yeah, I just wanted to make sure I said that, right? Because I think
Yeah.
it's important.
That's a great point. Yes.
Very
Mhm.
Yeah,
important.
and you have two great points on your benefit, which is you're a doctor and you speak Spanish. So I mean,
Perfecto.
Yeah.
yeah,
Most definitely.
this is just something that I mean I want this video to be distributed everywhere
Yes.
because there are so many, really so many doctors out there that they are doing something probably not even in healthcare, and it's
Yes.
talking something they
Yes.
don't feel passion for, and it's just, I mean, for me it's kind of, I mean, I don't want to say sad, but it's kind of like a waste. All those years of experience, of
The knowledge.
education, being knowledge, and it's such a privilege to be a doctor, and just having doing something like, I don't know, maybe driving a bus or who knows, right? We want all of them here in
Yeah.
research. We need you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I think from like my experience working with a bunch of monitors who were foreign medical doctors, I think they're the best monitors in clinical research. So when I've worked with them, they understand the protocol, they understand the condition, they can answer a bunch of questions. They're very detailed. I love working with those that have that. Because a lot of times, they come from somewhere else and then they didn't pursue medical school here, or whatever you have to do that. And so they become monitors. So yeah. That's
And I
great.
think also that they make great coordinators or site
Yes.
owners.
Definitely.
Yeah,
Site
anything in the
owners, site
management. Yeah.
owners.
A lot of there was a lot of people at the hospital, a lot of coordinators in particular that were foreign doctors.
Oh, really?
Yeah, a lot.
Wow.
And they're really, I'm not gonna say they don't look for that, but if they do, if you do have that experience, I think it does make it a little bit easier to become a coordinator. So, and being a coordinator is that was something that I was considering as well, going down being a research coordinator. But just, I happened to just get this opportunity, so I had to take that. But
Sure.
otherwise, I would have been a a study coordinator. I did get offers for study coordinator at the hospital, but Yeah, they came a little late. I already. they
Well,
came
now
late.
you're LinkedIn famous. You get offers from everywhere, I imagine.
Yeah.
I
After
do
this
get
video?
offers. I get offers. It's amazing. Yeah.
And only
awesome.
what, like, not even 12 months later, you go from like complete opposite ends of
Yeah,
the.
that's really good. Yeah.
Yeah,
that's-
I mean these are all really good points that you guys make. I mean, in my case, it really aligned with my goals. I really value my work-life balance, right, and spending time with my family. So I saw that clinical research aligned with that, with what my interests are, and I do feel that my knowledge is being utilized within research, right? I really do feel I feel comfortable. I feel that I'm being challenged on a daily basis. So I'm very fortunate.
But I think you are in the point where you are right now because you created your own opportunity. You
Mhm.
created you actually work for it and follow the suggestions
Mhm.
and that's why you're here. I mean, in
Yeah.
short time, if we compare with somebody that probably has a bachelor's here in United States, they have been trying to get into the industry, but they never do because they don't probably um, make or go in the direction that should be to take you where you want to go. Sometimes you just persist doing the same thing over and over again, and if you don't change what you do, you don't get different results.
Exactly.
So
And it
Yeah.
takes work to make that change, right? You got to put the effort in, just like Marcel did, all those various things he did. And you can get into the industry. You just got to put that work into it and do what you got to do.
100%. Thank you. I don't know. I'm really excited to see where you're gonna go and where all this is gonna take you. And I do think that definitely re-interviewing more specifically, like what Dan had mentioned, would be really good. I do think that there's something untapped as far as touching base with foreign medical doctors. I think that that would really be something huge that we need to try and also focus on because if we can support and provide the resource of that as well, that would be something that we can help change within the industry too, right?
Right.
So yeah, most definitely.
I see Monica
Yeah.
writing down foreign
Yeah, I was
doctor
going to say
Yeah.
exactly what Marcel just went over. We need to come put that together in a video.
yeah, but to be honest, we actually have in the CRC Academy, I will say that at least 60 to 70% of the students that we have are foreign doctors, and it makes me really happy
Mhm.
to see that we're helping somehow
Exactly.
people to put in to use to that absolutely amazing knowledge. Like I was saying, it's a privilege to be a doctor, so it will be a waste just not to utilize those
Years of knowledge.
Right.
exactly. So I mean you can do it. You can go the free road watching dance videos, or you can do it through the academies.
Yeah.
Most
It's
There's
just
definitely.
various
yeah.
options.
Mhm.
For sure. Well, I think we are coming to our time very shortly. Do we have any other questions? I do have here just some remarks saying definitely thank you for sharing your story. It was such a great story hearing your career path. Um, but yeah, if y'all have any questions, please shoot them here on the side before we close out. But for the most part, you guys, I do want to thank y'all for showing up today. And Marcel, more specifically, it's really great having you on here. I did mention a long time ago that I would very much love to interview you. So this is
Yes.
awesome that Monica and Dan said that you were going to be interviewed. So it's really great
Oh yeah,
catching up. And
we had to do it.
for sure, for sure.
And he's gonna get more interviews now, one with Dan and one with me in Spanish.
Oh yeah, that's right.
There you
We
go.
gotta do a
There you go.
LICR
We're gonna
Spanish
keep
one.
you. Yeah, we're
Um,
gonna keep you busy. But
that's
awesome.
great.
So
No, that's great.
sure. So far nobody has been commented yet. So we'll go ahead and close it out here now, you guys. I don't know, Dan, Monica, Judy, Chris, did y'all have anything you wanted to say before we close it out?
No, I just want to thank you for your time, Marcel. It was nice to get to know you. Thanks
Well,
for sharing.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank
Yes,
you
yes,
guys
thank
for
you.
actually having me on and having me share my story with you guys. And I hope that somebody out there will get some benefit from hearing, my path. And I'm pretty confident that there's going to be people, other IMGs that, are maybe, thinking about breaking into research. Now is a great time to do it. And there's many different ways of getting in, different pathways. I'm just sharing my path, my experience, and I'm hoping maybe that will benefit somebody, hopefully.
For
I am
sure.
very glad that you
Sure
mentioned that
will.
it's not only one path because everybody has the same
Yeah.
path in mind.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I hope that you guys, if you can please share this once we post it, make it go viral. We want to make sure that we can touch as many people as possible with this information. But thank you again so much, Marcel. We really appreciate it. And I look forward to seeing the other recordings.
Thank you guys.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you
you,
guys.
everybody,
Thank
for
you.
watching. And Marcel, I'll message you on LinkedIn right
Okay.
now. Thank you, everybody. Bye bye.
Bye.